Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Now. It's been a minute. I haven't been on here because I've been having troubles with my eye. So if it looks like I have a heavy tick because I'm like blinking my eye, it's because my eye is still bothering me. But the show must go on, and today I have a really great guest by the name of Bahamadia. Definitely an inspiration of mine, and very excited to have her as a guest on the What Now series to see how she's doing and what she's up to, and obviously for a dose of motivation and inspiration. I hope everyone that's tuned in is doing great and is healthy, hopefully healthier than me. I know you can't really see it, but this eye might turn red while I'm talking. I didn't want to move this talk, and it's not as painful as before, but we keep on going. It is not corona, as far as I know. That's not a symptom, so I should be okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let me know where you are coming in from, or are you tuning in from. And also, if you have questions for my great guest, then please put them in the question box. And she's already here, so let's not waste another minute and get her. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's wait on her to jump in this conversation so we can take it away. What's up, Queen?
Hey, what's going on?
How are you? Thank you so much for joining me.
Sure, it's cool. I was waiting when I was figuring when I was gonna get my turn. Like, when's she gonna invite me on?
Right.
Been talks, and I've been following. Well, I've seen the posts.
Right. Yeah, it's always a little bit tricky on when and where and how, and then we also had the time difference and the daylight savings. So
Right.
I had to really figure out when to plan everyone and what the time is, because I've been wrong on some times before, but I'm so happy that we got it right. As
Cool.
I had said before, you definitely are one of my inspirations and motivations when I was a teen, and it's just such an honor to have you here because I've always wanted to interview you, and I guess there's no time like today doing it
Right.
through Instagram.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to know. It's humbling to know, being an inspiration to people. It's cool. I really feel awkward. I don't know how to respond when people say that. Because you
Just
never
say
see,
thank you.
no, you just never do.
Well, it's for me, it's, obviously as women, the hip hop industry, it's tough being a woman in there. So whenever as me as a girl looking up to other women that are making it out there, that getting the respect in a respectful manner for the skills that they have and for the stance they take, that and on its own is inspirational. I come from Amsterdam. I'm not American, so you just had somebody over here in Amsterdam just looking up to that and being inspired to follow my dream, doing what I do in this industry. So that's really what it is. You don't have to really respond to that other than knowing it. And that should, be very fulfilling for you, because that's one of the things that you reach with your music.
Yeah, and that's inspiration for me to keep going. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Because the energy is perpetual. It's just about, I think, aligning with an extension of yourself in that way. It's visceral, but it's still, that's the most impactful I've found.
Yeah.
Just being myself and just allowing myself to be drawn towards people that are drawn towards me, in my work.
Yeah.
So.
And that's really what it is. I mean, energy attracts energy, and I'm sad that I never got to see you in person over here, but hopefully in the future we can travel again, and you'll be over here doing your thing, if that's still something that you're aspiring to do. But yeah, that would be great.
I know, because with these times, but I felt like we've met in real time before, though.
Have we?
I think a long time ago, during like my formative year, I think a long time
You know
ago.
what? I would think I would remember, but I'm not the youngest anymore either. And I've met so many people. So, it could be, but I would think that I would remember such a milestone in my life. So, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We know the same people. So that's also.
Could be that though, because you know how the is. It's just like a block long, even though it's an international community,
Right. It really is. And I've been to Philly before. I mean, I'm friends with your friends, so it makes sense that we probably have seen each other somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in Philly. Who knows? Are you still in Philly at the time?
Yeah, I'm back and forth, but right now I'm stationed here. Yeah, still, especially with COVID and everything.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah, your family and all that.
Yeah, so this whole What Now series was inspired to motivate and inspire people to to stay positive in this pandemic, especially in our industry. Everything is shut down. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things that I always ask my guests is, how are you dealing with the pandemic? How has that affected you personally and professionally?
Well, personally, it has made me be more reflective and reset my priorities. You know what I mean? More. I was always like family oriented, but it just made me really focus on the smaller things, the things that we tend to take for granted. You know,
Right.
in self reflection as well. You know what I mean? Like tying up loose ends from a business standpoint, tying up the loose ends business wise, developing some skill sets that I had been putting off, wanting to interests I had wanted to be develop, and just reflecting on myself. This areas where I know I could use growth. You
Right.
know, expansion like that. Just a whole lot of that.
Yeah, that's mainly what everyone has been saying. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, what this is the time to self-reflect and to see where you can progress or improve as a person, skills wise or personality wise even.
Hmm.
How has it changed any of your routines physically, or like diets? I mean, a lot of people have more exercise now, or some people have less exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been eating. Like I think I've been dealing with it, like from my the emotional components of it is making me eat. Be an emotional eater. But I'm a foodie anyway. But I noticed that I picked up more weight since the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Everyone has, trust me.
Yeah, my face is a lot rounder, but I'm content. Um, yeah, that's really what it's been. I mean, I really it's up and down though. To pay like I don't really know how to feel. It's so
Yeah.
many things going on, and then with us connecting more with the virtual realm, like being
Yeah.
on social media platforms and stuff like that. It's so much coming at you in your timeline. So much. It's a lot to process, and then
Yeah.
that on top of it,
Yeah.
and
So, do you experience more digitally? Like, do people hit you up more? Do you get more information, or even people reaching out to you online compared to pre-COVID?
yeah, it's always been like that though. For me, I've been fortunate to have people always inquire about work, independent artists, established artists. It's a gambit, of interest. But it's weird to be so accessible virtually. It seems like you're more accessible virtually than you are in real time. You
Right.
know, boxes, the requests, and it's like a lot. It is. Even if you have a protocol, people like that's just the standard in business now for people to inbox people to
Right.
connect. You know what I mean, so it's like if you even try to usher in a formal protocol, people get offended by that now. And
I,
I
you know
and
what? I know all about it.
yeah, and a few opportunities I've actually missed because sometimes some of my platforms I'm not as attentive to,
Right.
and it's been like some major opportunities that's been sitting here for weeks, and I'm like, oh my god, like why don't you and look at my bio? Like nobody looks in the bio to get your
Right.
email. They just don't.
It's terrible. Trust me. It's
Yeah,
the same for me. I direct people to email, but if it's business, please go to my email, because
right,
I can't, I can't see all those messages in Instagram. Once it's open, I won't see it anymore, because you
right.
can't put it on mark or unread or flag, or, I'm like that. And I think it's also, I don't want to say we're old, but it's an old school way of working, because I don't communicate necessarily through social media. Like, my communication is phone, email, texting maybe. And then social media is like, okay, you can hit me up there, but then let's move it to the old school
Yeah,
communication
social
way.
more unorthodox approach, but I think that the traditional, I don't think it's old school. I think it's just standard business practice or
Right.
business that people that aren't as versed in business dealings, they just aren't that knowledgeable about, standard protocol. That's what it is.
Right.
And especially at your leisure in our communities, like people has a very leisure approach to business.
Yeah.
That you could be at a party, you could be at, just at a listening, whatever. It's a gathering, and that's where all the businesses, people sipping wine, people, mixing, mangling with listening to their favorite day, and they're making deals right there
Right.
in the that,
That's
and
true.
I corporate is like that too. I guess, the mixes would be a little the equivalent to that, but ours is a little tricky because it's personable.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
it personal,
Yeah.
because you have to sort of kind of like disarm people to get them relaxed enough to start this conversation. You know what I mean? In real time and even
Yeah.
virtually, and that's where people get misconstrued with the line is blurred between business and
And personal. Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot,
And
and just
it's funny that you mentioned that because we had a little miscommunication in
yeah,
our DMs, and I
uh-huh,
was so happy we cleared that up because I was
right,
like, wait a minute, I didn't, no, I don't. For people that are tuning in, I do not copy paste requests for or
mm-hmm.
invitations for my guests because that's a very I select my guests personally on who they are and not just copy paste see who bites. No. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a miscommunication between us because we read into these things and you see thousands of messages. But I'm so happy we got that cleared up because that was
Yeah,
not how I wanted to approach you.
exactly. And sometimes, and even the art of that, like that level of communicating, understanding that some people, it is necessary if you cultivated a rapport, even if it's just a loose association with them. If
Yeah.
you have a fine a memory and connection with that person, you want to cultivate that, even if it's over time, slowly. And
Right.
some people do warrant your time of explanation. Some people do warrant that,
Yeah.
and but it's kind of like finding when to hold them and when to fold them in that way, because some
Yeah.
people, it's just no getting around it. That's just the way they are. It's
Yeah.
stern, and they process things a certain way, and you just have to leave it and let time, work it out. And it's
Yeah.
some this conversation, and it's us as women too. We're emotional, so words, like the text and email and messaging and stuff like that. You process that information according to where you are at the
Right.
time. You
Yeah. You
know,
interpret it into your emotional space. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is something that I'm still learning to navigate because I'm a very emotional person. I'm a woman and I'm an emotional woman. So
Oh,
I know my weaknesses and where I need to work at, but you will always know how I feel. There's never any hiding my feelings. So
you you consider that to be a weakness, to be in tune with your
um well,
elaborate?
if you let your emotions run you, yes, definitely,
Oh,
because it put me into situations where I let my emotions speak first instead of processing the information and then speak. I can still
right.
be emotional on it, but I have to like not just blur everything out in first reaction, and that definitely got me into situations that were not good for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Same
I'm aware of it now. So
here, and that's an art too, and that's a discipline that's over time you cultivate as well. So it's like you're like, okay, let me slow this down. Let me think about all the
yes.
possibilities.
Yes.
Or what I mean, especially if something resembles an experience that wasn't so favorable at a
Yeah.
time, the wrong way. If it even slightly resembles that, you just like you guard it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's like a thousandfold dealing with this virtual realm stuff.
Yeah. And it's especially interpretation, you got the emojis and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
you have to be careful with your words because everybody's interpreting it in their own way, like you said. So
Mm-hmm.
approach is very important, especially when it's a business approach. And again, like you said, we grew up in a time where you couldn't reach out to your favorite artist or, your idol or
Mm-hmm.
some role model. And now people feel like, okay, I can just hit up everybody as if they're my friend. And there's a level of respect that is lacking in my opinion, with the new generation, and I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there's the lines of respect and etiquette in communication are blurring, because we have learned in school how to address somebody, how to write a letter, how to, you know, approach somebody professionally. But now it's because of the short messaging and the apping. It's like, hey, what's up? There's no, you know, formal introduction. There's no, this is who I am.
People don't
There's
even
no
greet.
sign off.
Like, they'll just, if you have a chain, a thread, people don't even greet you. It could be the next day, and they're just continuing like, hello, good morning. You know, people, they just don't, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's like, it's chipping away at the fabric of our ethics and morals and sensibilities. This virtual stuff is powerful and it's useful as a tool as the internet has been in these apps and platforms. The con of that has just been detrimental to us as a whole from a humanitarian standpoint.
Right.
You know?
But you handle all your socials and all the messages yourself? Do you filter it? How do you go about that? Because I can't even imagine how many messages you get and how many you probably don't see.
So many. Well, management, you know what I mean? It gets filtered to them. But then the situations like ours, people that I have in relationships with or reports and connections with, in the community, in our community, it's a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
If it, you know, it depends on if it's a project, or it depends on if it's something that's going to involve like contractual obligations and things. Of course, they have to go through a protocol,
Right.
you know, because I have people in place that, you know, safeguard things, and I'm sure the other party does as well. But for the most, it's not even that deep. It's either you're going to do it or you're not. You know, like, for the connections, it's either we going to collaborate or we're not. You know, it's not that deep.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Do you get more requests for collaborations during this time? Because I know that the advice that I give people is, hey, this is the time to create, and people are at home, they have more time, so they're likely to check you out if you hit them up. I advise them to do that. Do you get more people to hit you up now, or was it always crazy?
It was always like that. And just being selective about who I work with too, because it's still, even if it's an established brand like artist, I mean, the music has to hit me, the concept has to hit me. I have to vibe with the artists. If we don't connect, like if it's not a synergy, like I will probably take it down. You know, because spiritual for me, creating is spiritual for me. You know what I mean? It's not just, it's spiritual process for everyone, I believe. But for me, it just really, I really take that part seriously.
Right.
Like, it's just about, you know, getting the bag, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if we are working and there are budgets in place and you do have a mutual respect for me, to honor me in that space of business. And that's one of the things I've always had a challenge with a lot of the time, is being a woman. I've learned, you know, I feel like in general people, that's just the nature of the business we're in, but it's really challenging for women. You know, it just is the rate. It's just crazy. You have to really be demanding and aggressive. You know, you really have to be aggressive and have people in place that aren't that have your best interest, you know, at heart. You know, because a lot of the time, yeah, it's true. Because a lot of the times, people that are associated with you, they may have relationships, or they're trying to build their, you know, rapport with certain people, and it could be at your expense inadvertently. You know what I mean? So I've experienced a lot of different things, but it's just learning assessing people that's in my immediate circle of influence, and knowing where their strengths and weaknesses are in mine as well. Because, like you said, I think we alluded to earlier, like communicating is very key. It's in everything. Everything. You have to take responsibility as far as those connections are concerned to keep them safe. You know, safeguard them. You know.
Well, that's the thing with me as well. Me as a music journalist, I know a lot of artists. I've built relationships with some of them, not all of them. And it's easy for artists to tell me, hey, can you send my music to this person? Or why haven't you told that person about me? And I'm very guarded with my own relationships, because I can't bring them bullshit, so to speak. It's my reputation, and you can only do that once, and then boom, your whole network is gone, your friendship may be gone, your whole relationship is gone. So I think it's very insulting when people expect me to just hit up my friends, because at that point they're my friends already, just to use them for their benefits. And I will connect people when I see that there's a fit or that there's an opportunity and there can be great art made together. But if I don't see it and if it's not the right time, I'm not connecting people. And that's not because I'm a hater. That's not because I don't want to see people win. It's because I'm protective of the situation, because it could be potentially something great, but not if we're doing it in the wrong time.
Exactly. And you might not be the right fit for them, and vice versa.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that's the level of expectation, is like, you know, you're exploiting your association with me at the expense of potentially that I've had over the years. You know, that's like this, like us doing this, like I'm real selective about doing it, you know, accepting the invites for the live. And people will say, well, you know, you did it with X, Y, Z. Yeah, but you don't know the history that I had with this person. You don't know what led to that happening, you know, that being coordinated, you know. And I don't feel like I should be at least have to explain, you know, my decision making process with every. That's the thing for me too, you know, just guys like that, you know.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right about that, because people don't think about that. You know, they see you do this and that, like you said, and then they're like, well, why don't you talk to this person, or why don't you do this person? And I don't know the relationship, and I'm not explaining myself either, because obviously with my live now, everybody hits me up like, you should interview me, or you should do this, and I have a new single out. Well, first of all, this whole series is not about promoting new music. Yes, it will be promoted if people have projects, but that's not the whole, you know, thing about this show. It's about talking about inspirations and journeys and motivations and knowledge, and that's what's making it so booming, because I didn't think this was going to blow up. I'm not making any money. This is just me and my passion, helping people in a terrible time in the world.
You didn't think the series was going to have the impact it's having? You were surprised?
Well, maybe I said that wrong. You're right. Maybe I should correct myself. I wasn't aware that it could be this big, that it could be this needed. I needed it because I saw the need in people around me. Everybody's frustrated and down. So I initiated this. I actually initiated with Skim Richards, Philly native, and he was down to trying it out. And everybody told me, even if COVID is gone, please keep doing this, because it's so much needed. And it was started to inspire creative people, but it inspires everyone, because everyone needs inspiration and motivation. You can apply all the knowledge that is coming from these talks to whatever industry you're in or life. So that's, so I'm definitely happy that this has brought me this far. This is talk number 64 since end of March. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're all equally as motivating, and their stories are interesting. So one of the things that I've been asking people is, you know, you've been doing music for a long time. You know, you've been in this industry for a long time, and we've been learning from my guests on how to navigate in this industry. We've been talking about communication, very important. Relationships are important. What do you think in your career has been your biggest mistake, which turns out to be your biggest lesson?
What has been my biggest lesson?
Yeah, I call it the biggest mistake that turned into a lesson.
What was one of the biggest ones that I made?
Sure, whatever you want to share.
Making myself accessible, being present, making myself accessible in networking. Right. I think that being so isolated and being an introvert, right? I feel like that has been a hindrance to my progression, in that taking longer to build solid relationships with other people, other artists in the community. Wow. You know, because you know how when you were in high school, college or something, and you were the person that you didn't realize that you were popular as was because everybody knew you, but you didn't know anybody.
Right.
They think that they
Right.
know you. They think that they're familiar with you.
Right.
And you're vaguely familiar with them because of the music and all of that, all the stuff that comes with being a professional artist or in the industry or in the community and all that, right? In the movement. But they really don't know you.
Right.
They really don't know. I realized over time like that you have to put yourself out and be so guarded or so private till you miss opportunities to connect and impart something that could be so profound that you've been holding on to that's been a gem for you. I mean, it's kind of selfish to hold on to that at a certain point
Right.
because all of us be a blessing. So at a certain point, you got to know how
Yes.
to relinquish, let it be what it needs to be, and let it touch who it needs to touch the same way I do with my music. You know what I mean? It has to be more than just the music. And
Yeah.
this time is a lot really see that, like, because one pro that I like about being in this room with this right now, the digital stuff, is that you are direct to consumer, you are directly to your fan base, and some of the people that are
Yeah.
supporters of yours, they are people that are your peers. I'm
Yeah.
finding it.
Yeah.
It's not just the person that's buying or streaming or getting the merch and coming to the show. Some of those people are movers and shakers in the industry for some of
Yeah.
us. Some of us
Yeah.
to have a diverse group of supporters in that way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just becoming aware of that and not shying away from that, and being and consistently showing up for those
Right.
times. I mean, those invites. Sometimes push past the quirky feeling that you might have and go, even if it's only for 45 minutes, to show up and support physically
Yeah.
sometimes, because you kind of, I was talking to somebody about the other day about, like, you had to kind of like Eclipse manager. I was talking to Eclipse about it. Like, you have to be somewhat like a politician or like diplomatic when you're a
Yeah.
public figure.
Yeah.
You
It's a
do, like,
business. Yeah.
babies, like, I've just never been that type. I've always been introverted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Introvert, extrovert. I know how to mingle when I get out. I prefer the privacy in my own space and,
Right.
just a small circle of people. I prefer that. And even after that, a few hours of that, I'm ready to go. It's just
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
to be, I don't feel like I had to change that, but I do feel like, that's that part of my personality is misunderstood. you
Well,
know
that's what I wanted to say. Like you said, people think they know you, but they don't. So on one hand, you miss out on opportunities, but on the other hand, people are also going to fill that in their minds with whatever they think is correct, and that can lead to misunderstandings of who you are, and
that
that might I'm not going to say that could be very damaging, but I mean it's happened to people before because they weren't outspoken about who they were, or they didn't show themselves enough to show that this is it and not what you think it is.
Mhm.
And as an artist, I can imagine that's even harder, because I know a lot of introvert artists that just want to do what they do and be creative and not bother with the rest, but it is a part of the business, so to speak, that comes into play. And I think it's very interesting that you address that from your experience, because this is not something I've heard in any of the other talks before. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's uniquely, but the thing about it is that it's not being talked about, or you probably haven't heard it before, because it's something that people just internalize. And I'm
Yeah.
liberated. I feel like anything that I'm processing, I become triumphant over, or experience. Once I become triumphant over it, meaning like I go past it or push past it so I can be a better version of myself in the context.
Right.
Share that, because there are other people that are still stuck there, that have a desire to be there, but they don't have a way out because nobody's talking about it. Sometimes
Yeah.
you could just be a follower away from somebody that has an answer or a way of a mindset that you hadn't considered,
Yeah.
because you're not open to communicate with them. And I learned that.
Right.
Like, you and it's not an esteem issue. It's just preference. It's just a preference.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could be so solid or hold within yourself or content with who you are, till you can be kind of like jaded. You can jade your own self. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's very true.
get out of your bubble sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I've
And
been
I
learning.
saw
Yeah.
people, in the beginning of our talk saying that they were very happy to see you on a live. So I can imagine that, this talk opens up other people to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There was a talk I had with Crazy Legs a
Mm-hmm.
couple months ago, and he actually helped somebody out themselves as a gay b-boy. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was very big. So if I can reach that with my talk and reach people to be comfortable enough to see that people that are role models to them open up and talk about things that are perfectly human and normal, then my goal
Mm-hmm.
is already accomplished. If it was for that one person only, my goal
Exactly.
was accomplished. Yeah. So it's good to have this
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I'm very happy and grateful for this, and I'm happy that you are comfortable with yourself now and learning and progressing, because everybody is on their own journey and everybody's learning to become a better person. Like I just said, I'm working on checking my emotions to the point where it doesn't hinder me. I mean, I'm still proud to be an emotional
Mm-hmm.
person, but I have to look
Mm-hmm.
out for how I can navigate with my my talents, my skills, and my character.
And,
Do you
and
express
realizing
that in
that it's
your? I mean,
okay, you
obviously, I
know what
listen
I
to your
mean?
music. Yes, yeah. That is the main thing. It's okay, and if somebody's not okay with that for you, it's not your problem. That's the
At
thing that I had
all.
to learn. Yeah.
At all. I saw a quote one time that what people think about you was none of your business, because they're
Right.
really processing
Yes.
through their own lens anyway, you know?
Right.
Except for times that we talked about earlier where, if it's your immediate circle of influence, your team, your family, people that are dear to your
Right.
heart or that have impact, you're working with and stuff, those are the people that you got to take care of. But other than that, it's always going to be what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, even I had my issues with my family, with my parents, and I chose my happiness over my parents, which was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I didn't see or
Mm-hmm.
speak to them for 2 years, and luckily now we're good. I mean, my dad passed away, but we were all good in the end. And so, if I always tell myself, if I can do that with my parents, then I can do that with
Mm-hmm.
anyone. So if anybody is telling me how to live my life and it's not making me happy, then I don't have to listen to that. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough lesson, but I
Yeah,
learned it
it's one that
the
hurts,
hard way.
but love, it's rooted in love. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's all about, right? I'm finding that love,
Yeah.
love does reside in our hearts, but it's also looking for a way out. And I'm finding that the only way it's going to escape to touch other people through our beings is for our hearts to be broken.
Yes. Yeah. It's
I
hard. It's hard.
feel the effect like, okay, like the most beautiful things come out of broken hearts. And how does that happen? Through the things that are most dear to you, to your heart.
Yeah.
You- For
Yeah.
some people, it's offspring. For some people, it's love relationships. They're partners. Some people, it's music. Some people, it's a
Yeah.
lot of different things. Hip hop broke my heart a long time ago. Like I nearly fell out of love with hip hop at one time because it became routine and it became more about your productivity on a professional level. It was
Right.
more about people processing you as being your art. Like you're not this. That's what I do. That's a
Yeah.
skill set I have. That's a talent that I have. But that's not who I am. And
No.
to come to the realization that people view you as a commodity. It was heart-wrenching for me for a long time.
How did you
You know,
find the love back?
because I'm built to do this. Like this is a part of my life's work. I was created to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't escape it. There's nothing I could do. There's no decision I will ever be able to make that's going to deter me from doing what I was created to do divinely. And that's just what it is. So I've learned
But you
to
found your
rest. You know what I
way
mean?
to do that. You found your
Hmm?
way in order to do it without living up to people's expectations.
Yeah, oh yeah, but that's factory equipment because that's what I saw. That upbringing, always standing firm when you make the decisions and you stick to them and you work towards your goals and all that stuff. That was factory
Yeah.
equipment for my upbringing. But I still, on my own, like I still felt, I just felt like that, like I don't seek the approval of validation, but it's just sad
It
to
affects
see
you.
many
Yeah.
artists, so many people that don't have a strong sense of self, being subjected to all sorts of exploitative or exploitive stuff. You know what I mean? Self-medicating, a lot of different things, hurting themselves because they don't have that. Because they come to their realization that for some people they just can't handle it,
Right.
especially women. And we
That's
even
and
do it.
yeah.
Oh,
No, you have to have thick skin to be in this
yeah.
industry. And just as you said that there were a time where you were like, I don't know. I've had my share of times, multiple times, where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But just like you, this is what I do. This is who I am. And I can't stop if I
Mhm.
wanted to, because it's part of me.
Mhm.
And so I've built
Right.
that resilience within this industry, this male dominated industry, where I
Mhm.
know how to navigate and stay true to myself. Because that's also one
Mhm.
thing that women, especially women, have to try and learn, to not sell out yourself in order to conform to whatever the industry is saying for you to succeed. And
Mhm.
that is something I had to learn, and everybody else probably had to learn. But I'm okay with that because I don't want to do anything else.
Exactly, and to that, so to add to that, it's like even as us as women, it's like what are we gonna do different than what's already been in place for so long at it being a
Right.
persistently male dominated industry? Because the
Yeah.
the camaraderie needs to be genuine. It
Yes.
shouldn't be about just a photo prop, or because that's the trend now to be girl power, or we're going to have our differences within our community, our gender,
Right.
all, but at the end of the day we should be supporting one another just because we should be moving everybody forward. Nate
Right.
T doing that, but that's a political lane as well, I found,
Yeah.
and then when you know who you are, you're always singled out. You're always the one that's ostracized, or you're the
Yeah.
one that, if you're courageous enough not to conform to what you see and you call it out, or you respond in a way that is the best way for you, you get the cancel culture situation going on, which is like, how
Yeah.
could you
Yeah.
cancel a staple?
Yeah.
How could you cancel
Yeah. You're
somebody
you're
you look
absolutely
into it?
right.
That's the cornerstone that you're drawing from. That's the well. That's the prolific. And we all
Yeah.
have it. And then I know you're an extension of my gift in that way, because I can sense it. I can tell. You can tell. You can see. You're only going to gravitate towards the things that you possess. And I know that you've been like a
Yeah.
matriarch in that realm for a very long time too. It's a lot of us that are unsung. It's not
Thank you.
just in the forefront of the more visual people. It's
Right.
that are on the team that's making this person that's supposed to be the voice or the face for this particular movement of
Yeah.
music, sound, or whatever the style be. Women a lot of the time that still go through the
Yeah.
same things that we go through as artists, as MCs, as producers. And we don't even talk about that amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
I've been assessing it and looking, and I haven't seen. Or if I do, it's people that come, and instead of you doing an authentic collaboration, it's them just attaching themselves to you to extract from your perspective so they for content. Like you've
Yeah.
been reduced to that, like a
Yeah.
node or some shit. Like that's, I mean, it's
Right.
just
Or what
disgusting.
they call clout chasing nowadays. It's exactly what you said. Going
Yeah,
back to the
but
women
these are corporate people.
in this
These are people that you
industry.
would think that would have a little bit more etiquette, a little bit more sensitivity, being women though. Because some of the behaviors that I've seen is mirroring what has been standard practice. So what my challenge, what are we going to do different? Authentic place. I do see some collectives though. I've seen a lot. We've come a long way, but I like the camaraderie to be more genuine and for us to have accountability, you know, for one another in these spaces.
Oh yeah.
Consistently, not just when it's self-serving.
No, but I was actually going to say that I haven't encountered women in this industry yet that weren't supportive of me or me of them. I feel like as much as people say that women are always competitive, I feel like especially in the hip hop industry, every woman that I've ever met, whether it's a manager, an artist, or whoever behind the scenes, we were always kind of like happy to see another woman and immediately supporting each other and building a relationship. I think it's
become your until they feel like you're a competitor, or until it's sometimes it's under the guise, not a lot of the time, but sometimes it's under the guise of let me assess you, let me what's that meme that was going around that says be mindful of who's here to support and who's here, you're under surveillance or something like that. You
right.
know, I'm right. It's one of those kind of things. Now I like to gravitate more towards the positive because my thing, I'm just disciplined to look at. I'm always going to see the good in things because that's who I am. That's how I see the possibilities of it. And sometimes that's a hindrance though, because you'll always see potential. And but really, what you're really doing is, I found you're projecting how you see yourself onto the other person. In real time, they might not be there yet. You know, people like us do that all the time. You'll look at the, I feel like they're not that but they actually are in another dimension though. Because now that's where the spiritual ass comes in. Because really, I feel like I process as that with us looking at them through the eyes of God. If you have the ability, even if your heart has been broken or you've been you have the ability to still stand and still love, then that's bigger than you.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't think you understand how much I needed this. Okay, the connection is a little wobbly now. Is it my connection?
You have to say for that because people, what's the saying? Moths and butterflies
so the connection
are attracted to
was
light.
off a little bit, but I definitely needed to hear all of that. So it's, yeah, for me, it's I see the potential in people, but they probably don't see the potential in themselves yet. And so that has definitely been a hindrance for me because I always see the best in everyone when they don't even see the best in themselves. And I try to bring out the potential in them, but I can't do that without their own help. So that's definitely one of the things that I've been dealing with in general, not just other women in the industry. But I have to say, I've never had no support from women that I've met in this industry, and I always give the same support back. So yeah, what I've learned is that people that are outside the industry are looking in.
That's what it is. Or is it a part of their processing? That's like having children. You could instill values and morals as you want into your child, but at a certain point you gotta let that child go out into the world and they gotta be processing it. Some things, sometimes the best thing for somebody is nothing at all. As selfish as that might sound, like sometimes you gotta get out of the way they're processing, because people did that for us and look how we turned out or how we're turning out.
Very
you
true.
Gotta cut the apron.
Very true.
You know, that's with your friends, especially with women, because we are innate nurturers and caregivers and emotional driven. So that's going, everything gonna be, you gonna want to protect and cuddle and do all this with you know, and it won't stop. So you gotta figure out ways to at least put up boundaries, set boundaries.
Yes. That, oh my gosh. You know what? This talk is for me. It's not for anybody else. This talk is for me because also I don't have any children. I don't have any kids, so I try to give my motherly love to everybody. I have a few questions
That's
from
how it
people.
is.
Let me go to some of the
Okay.
questions. Okay, so here's Scrappy Unicorn.
Okay.
I saw you, Bahamadia, on Project Runway with your son. Can you share more about that experience?
Okay. I saw Bahamadia on Project Runway with her son. Can you? I can't see the rest of it. What's the
Can you
rest of it
share
say?
more? Can you share more about that experience?
Oh, that was awesome. First of all, they made them sign a confidentiality. They couldn't tell. They made
Right.
them sign a form, and so they couldn't even tell people where they were. So I thought my son was off in LA somewhere working on a collection or something, working with one of his clients. And his fiance at the time, she she knew, so she called me and she said, "I can't tell you. It's something big going on, and I can't even tell you. But you're gonna find out in a few days." And I had to give your number out to one of Jean's contacts because that's how they were able to contact me. So she gave the number and they called, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, what they calling me for? I Because I was at work, so
Right.
it was on my message thing. And I was like, Project Runway. I was like, they don't calling me. So back or whatever, they told me I was like, oh my god. So they got us to come out. They were gonna fly me out. I can jump on the train. You had to fly me to from Philly to New York. It's an
Right.
hour and 30 minutes Amtrak. So I hopped on business coach, got there. They put us up in hotels and stuff like that. I got to meet the other moms. Everybody was so nice. And then the first episode we went. And when you saw us like come that day, they was like, "Mom," that was a natural response. They did that in one take. Like it wasn't taped over and over again.
Right.
Whole cast was so nice. Heidi Klum, everybody, it was so nice. And so they knew, but you know what the odd thing was? They knew the camera crew and everybody. They knew about my music, and some of them knew who I was. The makeup artist knew
Oh,
who
that's
I
dope.
was, but didn't know that I was Manjean's mom.
Oh, right.
When they found out, they must have missed Tim Gunn, and they did research. When they found out, they started dressing me by my name. Mr. Tim Gunn came and said he apologized. He had been calling me Tony all this time, and it was an honor for me to be on that show. When I tell you that I was nearly floored, because you never know whose radar
Who
you on,
knows?
and you
Right.
never know. That's the importance of being your authentic self, because you never know what you're going to unlock in somebody
Yeah.
else, and you know how far that's going to go. You
Yeah.
just never know. Like I would never have fathomed some of the people that contact me, and some of the projects that I've gotten. It's all been organic. It's all been about God connecting me to these people. I've never
Right.
had, you know, sound management that do the willing and dealing and get me these deals because I got a big time manager and they plugged in a certain level. I've never had that my whole career.
Right.
In fact, practically self managed my whole career.
Right.
I had always had people listen to me, but I've never had. So getting back on point with Project Runway. So I was floored behind that, and they just treated us so nice. You know, that was
That's
like a
so great.
highlight. It was so nice, and it was like a dream come true, because I always wanted to do a collaboration with my son on a magnitude like that and a level like that. You know,
That's
he's my
dope. Yeah.
a lot of my. He's been doing that for a long time. You know, because who else would I get? You know. But I mean,
Right.
in that capacity, it was just so dope. But he always just wanted to do it on his own, you know. My kids, they just wanted to
Well, he
make it on their
did. Yeah.
own. And it's so awesome, you know, to be around to see it, you know.
Yeah. Of course. I'm looking
Nice.
at the time as we are talking away the time. I know a lot of people will be asking or are asking about music, and obviously that's one of the questions that I would have. Talking about, you earlier talking about, not wanting to just do the productivity part of hip hop or music. You've always been a person that values quality over quantity. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We still play out the albums that you did drop. Do you plan on dropping anything anytime in the near future?
I do, but the thing is that my project years that I have been working on forever. It took a turn. Like I have several projects out of the material from those projects because it kept changing. And once my mom transitioned, of course, that was a big loss for me. So I just didn't care about music. I wasn't thinking about any of that. So when I finally got back focused on it, I've been writing. I never stopped writing or recording and stuff like that. I just didn't have. I think that probably took a toll on me too. And then just adjusting to like this becoming a DIY artist, I had to learn all this stuff. I'm saying all that to say I have like volumes of songs and stuff, and I just do more visuals. So now it's just about me getting the right. I'm still assembling the team to get the stuff out there. I don't want to just put my stuff out because I put so much of myself into it, and I know that we're in a stream, but the lifeline of it is just like you spend 5 years working on a project, put it out, and then 2 days later it's just a thing of the past, and somebody's like,
right, yeah.
So how just finding the right space to penetrate where the more lasting, more impactful effect, And then people always asking me about these projects, but when I do post up my beat tapes or if anything like that or different, singles that I drop here and there sporadically, I really see people reposting them. I really see people, and I post up that nobody's like, you got to check, you got to support me, or I'm going to put it on deaf ears. Like, I got like, just on Instagram alone, organic followers. I don't even promote my social media page.
Right.
And I have over 23,000 people, and like you're not supporting, so you gotta support. If you want Bahamadia to come out with music, then you gotta go support it. I got stuff on my Bandcamp. Go to my site. You gotta. You don't even have to. If you're not even going to support, you can do things. You can get the word out. You can repost. It don't cost nothing to do that.
Right.
We got the engagement going on, but after the engagement, how much talking do you think I'm gonna do, or how much conversation you think I'm gonna have? Yeah, and you know how that is. You're an entrepreneur, like it's not going to sell itself.
Oh, trust me,
So support,
I do.
You gotta support.
I saw our friend Chip Fu in here earlier. He shouted us out.
Did he do one of your?
Yes. He did a talk, and I was going to refer to him. Yeah, he said that he had a project done before Corona hit, and then in the 6 months we had already in Corona, when I talked to him, he changed so much. His mind state changed, his way of life changed, that he needed to change his songs because he didn't want to put out what was his old self. So within the 6 months of Corona and pandemic, he had changed as a person where he felt like he needed to put music out that was more him today. Is that something that you experience as well? Like, did this pandemic change you or make you write different or put different types of music out?
No, I don't, because whatever I put out, because I'm a prolific artist, so whatever I'm doing is always going to be ahead of the curve because I'm the curve.
Right.
Like I've never tried to follow any trends and everything. I know that about myself. So whatever I'm doing is always several years, decades, sometimes even decades ahead.
Yeah.
And I never do that. I never pay attention to all of that. Or what I do is pray about it, get the music writes itself, and I just articulate what I hear internally.
Right.
Literally, that's my process.
That's why the music is also timeless.
Once it's done, it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
And reflecting on it, that's where I was at the time. You know what I mean? Even sometimes like with freestyle stuff like that, sometimes in live performances, some people might see me do repeated verses. I'm very, my skill set is very A1 when it comes to improv. However, that's a spiritual thing for me. So for me, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to edify people.
Right.
And so I'm not here to just be sitting up here. And I take a lot of time in crafting my lyrics. Some people missed it that time, then you won't hear it the third or the fourth time, especially if I'm DIY.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely
just haven't heard
I'm
these
not
songs
English native. So I have to listen a few times before I get it because I'm not an English native. So, I'm always about the music first, the flow, the vibe, and then I start listening to the lyrics like, okay. So it takes me a while before I get the message, but I mean, I'll get there.
But yeah, it's the whole package for me. You know, I'm looking at the time. I don't want to cut you off, but quickly,
why not? I gotta say what's up to why not? Why not on here?
Well, yeah, why not been in here? Yeah, I've been seeing him. So you've worked with everybody that you can possibly imagine, especially from your, you know, your town roots to Jedi Mind Tricks to Erykah Badu to Talib Kweli, whoever. Is there anybody on your bucket list that you would love to collaborate with?
You probably would need to be asking the artist that, because after I toured with James Brown, you could have just put me in the prime box after that. That's the epitome for any hip hop as far as I was concerned.
Right,
now,
yeah, you're right, you're right.
In terms of collaborative, I would have wanted to work with the whole collective of craft work, but you know, one of them passed away. Yeah. You would be the same. But that was one of my bucket list people. And I love Barbara Streisand. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I believe in speaking things into existence. So what I try to do for my guests is speaking those type of things in existence. So if I can make that happen with this, then hey, this is my contribution to it.
You went out. The air.
Okay, so yeah, the connection is getting a little wobbly again. Yeah, I know it's telling us that the time is up. As we're going towards the end before Instagram cuts us off, do you have some words of advice for everyone that is tuned in and that will be watching this later? We could do a part 2, but I don't want to do it right away. Let's do that over a couple of weeks.
Let's plan it. We plan it. Yeah, let's plan.
Yeah. Let's do this part 2. I'm happy that you said it. I wasn't done talking to you either. So
wasn't enough time.
Right. This is too good to do in an hour. But you've definitely been a therapist to me today. My soul is happy right now. So thank you so much.
This is so awesome. You know, I had the jitters when we first started.
Really? Oh, wow. Why?
Look at Hip Hop Collective.
Yeah, I know. He's awesome. Everybody's in here. You drawing all the people.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. It was light.
Yeah. Thank you for
right up in. Yeah, I put it on
I'm
my
really happy
page too. Scrappy Unicorn. How you doing, Scrappy? Scrappy or Crappy Uniform?
Scrappy.
Little's on here. Everybody.
Everyone is here, but we're doing a part 2, people.
You know what? So it's an art to doing this too. Like looking at the questions and talking.
Listen, I'm skilled in this. I have my 20 years of journalism experience, and then I've done this for my 64th
People keep saying
talk,
that's one clear. I'm not a Philly legend. I'm a hip hop legend. I love Philly. I'm Philly to the fullest, but I'm a hip hop legend. I'm not just a Philly legend. I'm a regional artist. What's up, Chuck Trees? Dag, everybody on here. Hey,
we about to cut off though.
Look at the screen.
Yeah, but that's why you shouldn't look at the screen while we're talking, because that's too much distraction.
Okay, let me pay them. All right, I gotta focus on. I'm sorry.
No, I want to hear your last words of advice for this talk, and then we'll plan another one.
Okay, my last word of advice is for everybody. Don't let go of humanity. Don't let go of the human parts of your soul. Don't let go of you being an individual spirit connected to the collective of love. Yeah. Don't lose sight of it. Like, you know, it's important. These tools are powerful, but connect with your people. Go check on people. Call people. Don't just text and email them.
Yeah.
You know, you know, be who you are. Be who you were created to be. Be more, inspire more people to become who they were created to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And support us. Yes. Support us while our women, you know, that whole thing.
Yes.
Do it all in love. Let's move in love. That's what we're going to do. Read
I
a book and what's
completely
up.
agree. Yes, I completely agree, and I stand
Oh,
by those
wow.
words.
Let me get
Yeah,
off here.
stop looking at the screen.
Keep looking at the.
I'm getting the
I
countdown.
want to stop looking at it.
No, I'm getting the
Sorry.
countdown already. So thank you again
Oh.
for this talk. I was very much inspired. I'm sure everyone was inspired. Let's plan a part 2, and we'll keep it going. I'll hit you up after we're done with this. And again, thank you so much for all the wisdom and knowledge and inspiration today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me anytime. And hey,
All right.
Crazy Legs. Hey,
I know, now he comes in. Crazy Legs. We were just talking about you.
Somewhere perfecting another break move, revolutionizing hip hop again. That's what he was
I know.
doing.
Go watch the talk I had with him.
Okay. Bear one
All
in
right.
the building. Okay, Pay, thank you.
All right.
So
Thank
fun.
you so much. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Success with your talks.
Thank you. I'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Peace, y'all. All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Bahamadia. That was one of the most amazing talks that I've had this whole year. Definitely inspirational, powerful. I'll be back with her again since she's, suggesting a second talk. So we'll definitely plan that one. And thanks everyone for tuning in. This was amazing. I saw all the love. I wasn't able to address everything and everyone, but thank you so much. It's just very much appreciated. I'll be back on Monday again. No, wait, I'll be back on Friday. Anyway, just check my Instagram for all the talks that are coming up. I have amazing artists coming up. So yeah, I hope to see you guys soon again. Stay safe and healthy. And for those who are in the US, good luck with everything going on over there. Peace.